My name is Amelia Miller. I never thought my life would turn into something strangers would cry over. But sometimes the people you love the most end up being the ones who break you the hardest. I met Ethan when I was 22, shy, awkward, still figuring out who I was. He was charming, older, confident, the kind of man who made you feel like you were the only one in the room. We met at a small coffee shop downtown. He spilled his drink on me, laughed, apologized, and said, "Maybe this is how fate works." I smiled. I didn't know then that fate had a cruel sense of humor. Our love moved fast. Within a year, we were married. A small ceremony, no fancy gown, just the two of us promising forever. Ethan was working in real estate, chasing deals, always busy, while I worked at a bakery. We didn't have much, but we had dreams. Or at least, I did. When we had our first child, Liam, everything changed. Ethan said he needed to work more, travel more, for our future. I stayed home, raising our son, believing every word he said. There were nights when Liam cried until morning, and I held him close, whispering lullabies, while Ethan stayed late at work. I told myself, this is what sacrifice looks like. Years passed. I missed birthdays, friends, sleep, my own identity, all from my family. But I didn't mind, because when I saw Liam's little smile, I felt it was all worth it. Then, one night, everything started to shift. Ethan came home smelling like someone else's perfume. I asked, "Did you go somewhere?" He smiled faintly and said, "Just a client meeting." I wanted to believe him, but something in his eyes felt different. That's when the distance began. He started locking his phone. He laughed less. He looked through me instead of at me. Still, I tried. I cooked his favorite meals, wore the perfume he loved, left little notes in his bag. He barely noticed. Then came the day that changed everything. It was Liam's birthday, his 10th. I planned a surprise party, baked the cake myself, even invited Ethan's coworkers. He promised he would come early. But hours passed. Everyone left. Liam fell asleep waiting, and I sat in the living room staring at the clock, candles melting away, tears running down my face. At midnight, Ethan walked in. His shirt was unbuttoned halfway and lipstick stained his collar. When he saw me, his face froze. I whispered, "Where were you?" He said coldly, "Working." I said, "With who? Your new client?" He didn't answer. He just walked past me, straight into the shower. That night, I cried quietly beside my sleeping son, realizing love doesn't hurt this way. The next morning, I confronted him again. He yelled, "You're always overreacting. I'm the one providing everything, and you sit here questioning me like a child." I said softly, "I gave up my entire life for this family, Ethan." He laughed, a cold, heartless laugh. "Maybe that's the problem, Grace. You gave up too much. Now there's nothing left of you to love." Those words pierced deeper than any wound, because deep down, I knew he was already gone. Days turned into weeks. He started sleeping in the guest room. He missed Liam's school events. He didn't care if I cried, and I started feeling invisible in my own home. But I still held on to hope until the night I saw what he had been hiding from me. One evening, Ethan left his phone on the table and went to take a call outside. It buzzed. A message popped up. "I miss you already. Last night was perfect." My heart stopped. When I opened the chat, I saw hundreds of messages, pictures, voice notes, hotel receipts. The woman's name was Samantha. He had been seeing her for nearly 2 years. My hands trembled. My tears blurred the screen. He came back in and froze when he saw me holding his phone. I whispered, "Who is she?" He didn't say a word, just snatched the phone from my hand. "Ethan, please, say something." He turned away, and then, with a tone so cold it shattered me, he said, "Maybe I'm just tired of pretending." That night, I realized the man I built my world around was nothing but a stranger wearing Ethan's face.
I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the floor of our bedroom, the phone still in my hand, my tears drying into salt on my skin. The messages ran through my mind again and again, every word cutting deeper than the last. I wanted to scream. I wanted to hate him. But all I could do was sit there, remembering every time I had defended him, every time I had told my friends, "Ethan's just busy, that's all." How blind I had been. When morning came, Ethan didn't even look at me. He poured his coffee like everything was normal. I asked softly, "Are you going to say anything?" He sighed, "Grace, I don't want to fight. You went through my phone, that's not okay." That was the moment something inside me broke. I stared at him and said, "I went through your phone because I already knew I'd find something. You don't lie to someone you love." He didn't respond, just grabbed his keys and left. The sound of the door closing behind him felt like the sound of our marriage ending. For the next few days, I tried to hold things together for Liam. I packed his lunch, helped him with homework, smiled when he asked where Daddy was. But inside, I was crumbling. At night, I'd sit on the porch, staring at the stars, wondering when love had turned into loneliness. I thought about all the nights I'd stayed up waiting for him, all the times I'd believed his excuses. And I realized I had built my entire world around a man who never valued it. Then one Friday evening, he came home late again. But this time, something was different. He walked in, silent, cold, his suitcase in hand. I looked at it, my chest tightening. "Are you leaving?" He exhaled and said, "Grace, I think it's time we take a break." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it sounded so absurd. A break? After 15 years of marriage and a child, you want a break? He looked away. "You've been suffocating me. The house feels heavy. Maybe we just need space." I whispered, "Space or her?" He didn't deny it. He just turned and walked into the bedroom. That night, I cried harder than I ever had in my life. Because no matter how much I tried to be strong, I could feel everything slipping away. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of drawers opening. Ethan was packing his clothes. I stood at the doorway watching him. My voice barely came out when I said, "Please don't do this. We can fix it. We can go to counseling." He zipped his bag, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, "I've already made up my mind. I'm moving in with Samantha." The room spun. I felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. Liam was still asleep in the next room, our little boy who thought his dad was a hero. I whispered, "What about him?" Ethan shrugged. "He'll understand when he's older." And just like that, he walked out. No hug, no goodbye, no remorse. The silence that followed was unbearable. I fell to the floor, clutching my chest, unable to breathe. Everything I had built, every memory, every sacrifice, gone in seconds. Days turned into weeks. I tried to function, but it felt like I was drowning in slow motion. Bills started piling up, the mortgage, the utilities, all in my name. He stopped sending money, stopped answering calls. Then one afternoon, there was a knock at the door. A man in a suit handed me a document. It was a notice of separation. Ethan had officially filed for divorce.
But that wasn't the worst part. Attached was a letter, short, typed, and heartless. It said, "You can keep the house for now. I'll come for my belongings next week. Don't make this harder than it has to be." I remember falling to my knees, that letter shaking in my hand. How could someone who once promised forever be so cruel? When Liam asked where his dad was, I told him, "He's working far away." I couldn't bring myself to break his heart yet, but kids are smarter than we think. One night, he looked at me and said, "Mom, Daddy doesn't love us anymore, does he?" I froze. Tears filled my eyes, and all I could say was, "He just forgot how to." Months passed. I found a part-time job at a local diner, working nights just to keep the lights on. Liam would stay with my sister while I worked. Every time I came home, the house felt emptier. His clothes were gone, his scent faded, his side of the bed cold. It felt like living with a ghost.
Then, one rainy evening, Ethan showed up. His hair was messy, his eyes tired. He looked like a man who'd lost something he couldn't name. He said he needed some documents. I watched him walk through the house like it was nothing, our photos still on the walls, our memories frozen in frames. Before leaving, he turned to me and said, "You should move on, Grace. It's better for everyone." Move on? Like I was supposed to erase 15 years of my life overnight? But that night, something inside me shifted. I realized I was done being the victim. I was done crying for a man who didn't care if I drowned in my own pain. So I started rebuilding. Quietly, piece by piece. I sold a few things, picked up extra shifts, and enrolled in an online course for interior design, something I had always loved but never pursued. I started rediscovering myself, the woman I used to be before I became Ethan's shadow. Still, life had one more cruel twist waiting. 6 months later, I got a letter in the mail from the bank. Ethan had stopped paying the joint mortgage. The house was being foreclosed. He had taken out a second loan behind my back and defaulted on it. When I called him, he said coldly, "It's not my problem anymore. You can deal with it." I screamed, cried, begged, but it didn't matter. He had already moved into a new house with her. A week later, I came home from work to find an eviction notice taped to the door. 30 days to leave. I had nowhere to go. When I called Ethan again, desperate, he said the words that still echo in my mind to this day. "Ethan, maybe it's time you stop clinging to what's gone. It's over. Just move out." And that's how it happened. The man I gave everything to, the man I sacrificed my youth, my dreams, my peace for, kicked me out of my own home. I packed what little I could fit into my car, clothes, Liam's toys, a few family photos. As I looked around the empty rooms, memories flashed before me. Our wedding night, Liam's first steps, Christmas mornings, laughter, love. Now all replaced by silence. I closed the door for the last time, tears streaming down my face, whispering, "Goodbye." Liam held my hand and asked, "Mom, where are we going?" I forced a smile and said, "Somewhere better," even though I had no idea where that was. That night, we slept in my sister's spare room. One bed, two hearts trying to survive the wreckage of betrayal. And while Liam slept peacefully beside me, I stared at the ceiling, whispering to myself, "He may have broken me, but he hasn't destroyed me." I didn't know how, but I promised myself someday he would regret the day he walked away. The first few months after Ethan kicked us out were the hardest days of my life. There were nights when I cried into my pillow so Liam wouldn't hear. Days when I questioned everything, my worth, my choices, even my faith. It felt like my entire life had collapsed into ashes, and I was trying to breathe through the smoke. But pain has a strange way of showing you who you really are. When you lose everything, you also lose your fear. So I began again. I worked double shifts at the diner, took night classes, and spent every spare second studying interior design. My sister's small apartment became my safe space, crowded but filled with love. Liam helped with dishes, homework, and sometimes just sat beside me as I worked on my laptop, whispering, "You can do it, Mom." Those words were enough to keep me going. Month by month, I started rebuilding, quietly, patiently, relentlessly. My first design client came through a diner customer who overheard me talking about my course. She said, "I need someone with heart, someone who knows what home really feels like." I smiled, not realizing that single sentence would change my life. I poured my soul into that first project, every wall, every color, every detail. When it was done, she hugged me and said, "Grace, you have a gift." For the first time in years, I believed her. Word spread. Clients came one by one, and before I knew it, I was booked months ahead. I created a small business, Grace Designs. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. Every penny I earned felt like a small victory, a quiet whisper to myself, "You're doing it." Meanwhile, Ethan's perfect little world began to crumble. Rumors started to surface through mutual friends. His real estate firm went under after some bad investments, he lost major clients, then his position, and eventually, Samantha. Apparently, the woman he left me for walked out when the money dried up. I didn't gloat. I didn't smile. I just breathed, because I didn't need revenge. Life was already teaching him what I couldn't. But fate, as always, wasn't done weaving our story. Almost 2 years after he left, I was working late one night when I got a message from an unknown number. It was Ethan. "Grace, I'm sorry. Can we talk?" I stared at the screen for a long time. 1,000 memories flashed. The betrayal, the silence, the night he told me to move out. My heart didn't race anymore. It just felt still. I typed back, "About what?" He replied, "I made a mistake. I miss you and Liam. I lost everything." For a moment, I almost felt pity. But then I remembered the look in his eyes when he walked away. The way he said, "Move out." The way he made me feel small. I told him, "Ethan, I hope you find peace, but we've already moved on." He didn't reply. And for the first time in years, I slept peacefully. A few weeks later, I got a call from a local magazine. They wanted to feature my story, a single mom who turned heartbreak into success. When the article was published, it went viral. People from all over the state started reaching out, congratulating me, sharing their own stories of pain and survival. My inbox was full of messages from women saying, "You gave me hope." I cried reading them, not from sadness, but from pride, because the girl who once begged for love had become a woman who inspired it. Liam grew up watching me rebuild our life from scratch. One night, he came to me with his report card, straight A's, and said, "Mom, I did it for you." I hugged him, tears streaming down my face, whispering, "No, baby, you did it for you." Years passed. Our little apartment turned into a home filled with laughter and light. My business grew, clients across cities, a small team, even a studio space. Every time I walked in, I felt proud of what I had created, not from revenge, but from resilience. And then, one day, I saw him again. I was at a coffee shop downtown, the same one where we first met all those years ago. He was sitting by the window, alone, older, worn down by time. Our eyes met for a moment,
He looked like he wanted to say something, but words never came. I gave him a small nod, not of anger, not of pity, but of closure. I walked out that door feeling lighter than I'd ever felt before. Because I realized something. True revenge isn't about making someone suffer. It's about healing so beautifully that they can't recognize the person they once broke. I no longer hated him. I no longer missed him. I had found something far greater: peace. And maybe that's what real strength looks like. Loving yourself enough to never go back to what broke you. That night, I sat by my window, a cup of tea in hand, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold. Liam was in the next room, laughing with friends, his voice full of life. And I smiled, whispering to myself, "He kicked me out, but I built something stronger from the ruins. He took my past, but I reclaimed my future." Now, whenever someone asks how I survived, I tell them, you don't survive heartbreak by holding on to anger. You survive by holding on to yourself. You rebuild. You rise. You forgive. Not for them, but for your own freedom. And if you're listening to this wondering if you'll ever feel whole again, you will. The pain will fade. The nights will get easier. And one day, you'll wake up, look at yourself in the mirror, and realize you became everything they said you couldn't. If my story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. You have no idea how much your support means to me. And remember, no matter how broken you feel tonight, your story isn't over yet. It's just